Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from paulthepoke.com. Today's topic, we are at This Week in Prophecy. We're going to talk a little bit about red heifers, Putin and Mahmoud Abbas in Palestine, Iran's Evin Prison, Russia and Iranian drones, Putin's martial law, Russian war crimes, and the Saudis and Biden. So we got a little bit to cover here. Lots of questions, as always, about the red heifers. And just a quick red heifer update. They are out of quarantine in Israel, and they are located at an undisclosed location somewhere in Galilee. So, before we get to that, anybody interested in just the history, the recent history of anything related to red heifers, I've provided a link at paulthepoke.com. Red heifers, click on that. I have all kinds of stories in and around the red heifer. And its significance in the rebuilding of the Third Temple. Catch up on the Temple Institute. And speaking of the Temple Institute, they have provided a recent tweet. 5 red heifers enjoying life in Israel, flown to Israel 1 month ago from Texas via Kennedy Airport. They are currently enjoying their lives in Israel. After spending 10 days in quarantine, they are now living peacefully on a farm in Israel's Galilee region. So if you want to, you can click on this link. It's very exciting. You can watch 5 red heifers eat some hay. And that's about it. But the point, to let y'all know, they are safe and sound. So T-1 year, make sure one of those red heifers is pure and without blemish. We're going to have a big bonfire. So we'll keep our eyes on that as information becomes available. We're going to transition from there to Russian President Vladimir Putin visited with Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas. We'll click on this link. You can see the article here from the timesofisrael.com. Links will be provided to all of this stuff as usual. These two fellows got together in Kazakhstan, in Astana, Kazakhstan, on October 13th. Not a whole lot really going on there. The main thing is to know that Putin is becoming more sympathetic with the Palestinian cause and is willing to listen to Abbas, which in turn means, ultimately Putin, Russia, will turn against Israel as prophesied in Ezekiel 38 and 39. So this is, again, just another piece of the puzzle, or another domino being set up to fall for all those things to take place. Here's a quote. This is from a Palestinian spokesman. President Abbas briefed Putin on the latest political developments regarding the Palestinian issue, as well as on the continued Israeli violations against the Palestinian people, land, and Muslim and Christian holy sites. Oh, yes, of course, Abbas cares about the Christians, including the continued settlement construction, demolitions, extrajudicial killings, and the army siege imposed on the cities, refugee camps, and towns, particularly on the Shuafat refugee camp, Nablus, and Jerusalem. And again, that's per a Palestinian spokesman. So, he pretty much unloaded on Putin. Hey, this is what's going on. And again, Putin is sympathetic with the Palestinian cause, wants to go through the UN, make it all legal, look good, of course. But we know Scripture says, Ezekiel 38:39, that says Russia and friends will invade Israel from the north. And just another example of how Russia is leaning more toward those opposed to Israel. So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about Ezekiel 38 and 39. Now, this took place at Iran's Evin Prison. So we're going to go to a map, and this is a map of Tehran in Iran. Evin Prison, located up here in the northern part of Tehran. It is a prison essentially for political prisoners. And I want to say there were at least 8 people killed, dozens, scores of others injured. There were projectiles noted to go toward the prison. There were explosions. People also heard gunfire taking place in the prison as the fire was raging. Allegedly, fire response was slow to get to the prison. This is from Jason Razayan. I'm probably mispronounced his name. My apologies. Host of 544 Days. He has a podcast on Spotify. And he's an author, writer at the Washington Post, author of Prisoner. So, and he makes the comment, Evin is no ordinary prison. Many of Iran's best and brightest have spent long stretches confined there, where brave women and men are denied their basic rights for speaking truth to power. The regime is responsible for what happens to those inside right now. So there are several videos. Like here's a, I don't know, this is like a 20 odd second video showing the fires and the explosions that were taking place. Now these things were seen by, as you can see, close to 1.5 million people. Prison burning that took place. Let's see. Evin Prison is where political prisoners, foreign dissidents, and anyone who disagrees with the government is held. Um, Not a good place. No real closure to any of that as well either. So Russia, there's a lot of protests. I'm sorry, in Iran, a lot of protests taking place in Iran currently, and a lot of fallout from the murder, effectively, of the young woman who refused to wear a head covering. They beat her to death. People are revolting all across the country, and so this, to me, was just kind of a response to the people. Hey, we're not putting up with this nonsense, and we're gonna, if we put you in a prison, this could happen to you. Um, Pretty simple. Also shows to me they may be losing some power and just trying to reinforce more fear to the population. And we're going to transition from Iran in Tehran to what's taking place in Ukraine. There's plenty of bad stuff taking place in Ukraine since the four regions were annexed by Putin. We can get into this whole debate as to whether or not that's legit or not, and that's not the point of this. But several things have taken place since that happened, and this is from Pateramesh, an open source military technology analyst. Iran, Middle East, Russia, China, North Korea, Israel, geopolitics, nuclear war, and behind the scenes strategies. And he makes a comment or on a tweet, Shahad 136, 131 drones have penetrated Kyiv's air defense and struck the city center. Here's some facts about this drone. First seen 8 years ago. It's been kept secret by Iran, never mentioned by name, and officially shown in 21 and 22 footage in large quantities in tunnels. Now, if you guys have been following us, we've had all kinds of pictures of these drones in these tunnels. Iran is mass producing drones currently. And here's a tweet and a picture by Sergei Supinsky. I think he took that in Ukraine just to show people, hey, this is what this thing looks like. And these things have been unleashed along with missiles all over Ukraine. And, Putin's using these things pretty straightforward, using missile attacks as well as drones to knock out power stations across the country. Missile and drone blitz has knocked out a third of the country's power stations. Now, again, this is according to dailymail.co.uk. Now, I've seen estimates as high as one half of electricity being taken out of Ukraine. I mean, can you just imagine? I mean, pick Texas, for instance. Half of the energy supply, half of the electricity supply being knocked out of Texas, or half of the, a third to a half of electricity being taken down anywhere over a large swath. I mean, that's a lot of destruction that's taken place in and around Ukraine. And it's not just electricity. They're going after water. Blackouts are occurring throughout Ukraine, and Russia again is utilizing missile launches and purchased Iranian drones to achieve the objective. And Putin's goal is pretty simple. He is looking to freeze out the Ukrainians during the winter. And it also, again, this speaks to the deepening relationship between Russia and Iran. Now, previously, it was a one-way street where Russia was selling arms to Iran. Well, now it's going the other way from back to Iran to Russia. And in the midst of all of this is the oil and gas trade, energy trade. And again, it's a sign of strengthening ties and relationship between Russia and Iran. Again, just as prophesied in Ezekiel 38, what would be ancient Magog and ancient Persia. And at the core of all this whole issue are economic issues. Here we are. And you even seen reports where Iranian soldiers are now involved in Ukraine. And I guess a few of them have been killed. And some of that has been shown on social media, on Twitter. I'm not going to show that. But I've seen reports that are indicating Ukrainians have taken out Iranians. So you got, human soldiers, boots on the ground. And then you have missiles and drones. Two of the three from Iran involved in Ukraine. And he's just looking to freeze out the Ukrainians. And if you want to read into more detail on this, you can go to dailymail.co.uk. Vladimir Putin's blitz plunges Ukraine darkness. Now, he being Putin, has instituted martial law in the 4 annexed regions of Ukraine. And we're going to go to our map right here. So we'll scroll this up again. Here is the current border. According to Google, this is the Russian-Ukrainian border right here. Follow the cursor. Now, allegedly, you have Crimea down here in the south has agreed to become part of Russia. They've annexed that back in 2014. And then you also have this region along here has voted. The will of the people, according to Putin, was to join Russia, this eastern part of Ukraine. That's what's at stake there. Now I'm going to move over a little bit to the east. Now, the other thing that was interesting with this declaration of martial law, other legislation was passed for Crimea, Sevastopol, Krasnodar, Belgorod, Bryansk, Voronezh, Kursk, and the Rostov regions. So specifically, that's this area. Here's Kursk, Voronezh. I speak no Russian, obviously, but you get the flavor. It's these areas east of what is, and these areas are in Russia. And just follow the cursor. This is loosely what they're talking about. All the way down into Krasnodar. Just follow the cursor. It's the areas that are in Russia east of the border. And this is what's being done there too. Russian authorities now have additional powers to maintain security and rapid reaction to any emergencies. And I'm getting my information from RT. Straight from Putin's mouthpiece. By the way, I noticed this. Maybe I haven't been paying attention. RT is no longer just Russia. It's Russia and former Soviet Union. Okay. But he is, it's the will of the people. They all want to be Russian. He's just looking to cover their safety and security. And he also is looking to the people inside of Russia in these areas east of the border of Ukraine. They now have additional authority to ensure safety and rapid reaction to any emergencies. So, that's what they're saying. Their words, not mine. And I'll also warn you folks next, are going to come up on a very sensitive subject Um, if you have young children around, you might want to hide them now. We're going to talk about what Russian soldiers are doing to the population inside of Ukraine. And I believe this is from France 24. And if you've not stopped the video or had the children leave, I'm moving forward. But it would appear that Russia is using rape as a military strategy. I will show you the article and just give you an idea what it looks like. And again, a link will be provided. Rape used in Ukraine as Russian military strategy, and this is per the UN, the United Nations. Not going to go into, it's a short, quick read, hits the highlights of what's being done. I am going to go over the quotes that are being referred to in the article. When women are held for days and raped, when you start to rape little boys and men, series of genital mutilations, when you hear women testify about Russian soldiers equipped with Viagra, it's clearly a military strategy. And when the victims report what was said during the rapes, it is clear a deliberate tactic to dehumanize the victims. There are confirmed crimes against humanity committed by Russian forces, and according to gathered testimonies, the age of the victims of the sexual violence ranges from 4 to 82 years old, and that's per UN envoy Pramila Patten. Hundreds of cases being reported, and just also since the war has begun, 7 million plus Ukrainians have left the country since all this started. Again, this is at France24.com if you wanted to see the details on that. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about, the Saudis. Now, President Joe Biden had requested of the Saudis, hey, I hear you guys are wanting to cut oil production. Could you hold off on that until after the election? Well, the Saudis go public with that information. And, Joe's idea is, hey, let's keep gas prices down as long as we can. Then once the election's over, if you want to cut production, that's fine. Well, the Saudis didn't like that. And the quote, and this is from Mohammed bin Salman's cousin. He makes a threat to the West. Saud al-Shah Alan warns those who, quote, challenge Saudi Arabia. We are all projects of jihad and martyrdom. It's like, we're not taking this nonsense from you. We're not afraid to fight. And you can't threaten us. Don't tell us what to do. I think there were some other quotes in here I want to read. Oh, not really. But anyhow, they didn't listen to Biden. OPEC responded by cutting oil production, I think, by 2 million barrels a day. Now, Biden in response says there's going to be some consequences for what they've done with Russia. And that's the one thing, too. It's becoming more obvious that the Saudis are beginning to side more with Russia and China. Even some whispers, some open discussion about the Saudis starting to make oil trades and purchases and transactions in yuan, the Chinese yuan, and also the Russian ruble, and trying to get away from the dollar-denominated trade. And you can read this at dailymail.co.uk. Warns challenge Saudi Arabia. So lots of stuff taking place. So appreciate you guys following along this evening. If you'd like, please feel free to share with others at paulthepoke.com. It's going to be categorized under Paul the Poke, Ezekiel 38:39 prophecy and trend update. And again, this has been This Week in Prophecy. Got some stuff coming up from Checkmate over the weekend, probably coming up on Sunday. Also found some information in response to the Shroud of Turin. Interesting article. I'm going to do a post on that and the way things are going. All kinds of stuff happening fastly, quickly. Just trying to keep up and do the best we can with it. So if you like, share with others, let others know about it. And appreciate you guys following along. Y'all have a great evening. Take care. Bye.